Hi everyone, and welcome back to Splash Page. I'm Sean, and as always, I'm joined by Andrew, and today we're going to be discussing Season 3, Episode 7 of The Boys, entitled Here Comes a Candle to Light You to Bed.
Yeah.
Andrew, what'd you think?
Holy backstory, Batman. We got, I loved it, the Nour and the Butcher between the two of them, and we finally get to learn a little bit about what happened in their pasts, and maybe a little different story about what happened to Soldier Boy and Homelander. Actually, everyone in this show has a new backstory this episode.
Right. Yeah, it's, I guess this being the penultimate episode of the season is setting up what we are hoping to see in the finale as fireworks. And maybe some realignment of the teams or the fight that we saw in Hero Gasm.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
No, absolutely, and I'm excited to see that. But we should start at the very beginning, yeah?
Let's start where it opens. We have Ashley, the CEO of Vought, speaking on a cable news network, think maybe Fox News or CNN, and they're attempting to ask her questions about the allegations from Starlight about Vought. Ashley says, you know what? I think it's really Starlight that's changing the conversation because she doesn't want to talk about what she's doing in her background. Andrew, this really cracked me up because as she said, she's doing exactly what she's saying Starlight is doing.
Yeah, that's...
Like, did you catch that too?
Oh,
she's changing the topic by saying that Annie is changing the topic.
That's the world they live in. I'm going to say this: over the 3 seasons, I think my favorite character development has been Ashley. She's close too.
Yeah.
After this episode, also Nour, but Ashley's character this season, I love her. She's amazing. From that mousy little nobody to this CEO of Vought, who's just ruthless.
Yeah, and let's stay with her character because the other big part of her character for this episode was her interaction with Adrian.
Who's alive?
Adrian is still alive. Adrian is still alive, but it does sound like he did die for a moment there because she breaks the absolutely outrageous news to him that he now has Blue Hawk's heart. So he hated Blue Hawk, he killed Blue Hawk. They replaced his malfunctioning heart with Blue Hawk's heart and are spinning the story that Soldier Boy is the one who attacked them both.
Do you think there's going to be a moment like in those old B-horror movies where someone dies, someone has like a hand transplant and they get a serial killer's hand and then
the hand like attacks them?
The heart's just going to start fighting against him.
Let's go to another very quick hit story. The Deep and his wife obviously are starting to have some tension between them. There was a clear, movement here that she is helping the Deep get back in good graces of the Seven, therefore make more money, be more prominent, and now it looks like they're kind of calling each other out. The incredibly gross and fun part of this conversation is that the Deep says that their sex life is lacking, and for the basically 3rd time this season, he has sex with or attempts to have sex with an octopus. Yeah. This time in a threesome.
Oh, man. You know what? Behind every successful man is a strong woman, and usually he doesn't realize she's there.
Let's jump over to a lot of the meat of the episode with Mother's Milk, Kimiko, Frenchie, and Annie. Obviously, we have the bigger storyline going later, and we'll touch upon those. But I think there's a lot going on with these 4 characters.
Yeah, and the rest, as they said in Gilligan's Island.
Yeah. Right, yeah. So Frenchie and Kimiko find MM and Annie in an apartment, and the apartment's number is 42, which if you know the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is the answer to everything. Sure. Frenchie and Kimiko then stay with Mother's Milk and Annie. They talk a bunch. We see that Kimiko is still injured and shares a bottle of Tennessee whiskey from Kirkland with Annie. And this is the first time that Kimiko has ever had a drink. One quick question. We got White Claw a few episodes ago. Now we're getting a Kirkland call out. You think these are product placements, or you think they're just having fun and putting themselves in our
And the
world?
Frescas from last season with the church.
Yeah, Frescas, undeniably. And we continue to see Kimiko's kind of obsession with music. She's, watching a music video when she's talking to Annie. Later she comes out to talk to Frenchie and wants to dance with him. So I wonder why this is, and I don't really have a good guess, but I have a feeling it's going to come up, and there's going to be a reason behind it, or it's going to lead to something. So she talks to Annie and asks Annie to get her the real Compound V, not V24. She wants her powers back, and her reasoning for that, she explains, is with her without her powers, she was unable to protect Frenchie, and she wants to be able to protect Frenchie. She realizes she is who she is, and the Compound V just makes her, makes her powerful. And in those cases, allows her to protect her friends and family. She has the nice little dance with Frenchie where she touches his arms and calls them like straws.
She said when she was on the V, they felt like bendy straws, and this was the first time she actually got to feel his arms.
Right, and it's now you got the impression that it was going in a romantic light, but then by the end of that conversation, she basically says like we're family, and that's more important than kind of anything else. In the comic, I believe Frenchie is like 30 years older than Kimiko. I think Kimiko is like in her mid-teens, and Frenchie's a full-grown adult, so there was no romantic relationship between the two, and I wonder if that's kind of more the direction they're going in.
Slightly same topic, but I do know I saw a lot of comments online about Kimiko losing her powers and people saying, I think she'll get it back and it'll be okay because this time it's her choice instead of it being forced upon her.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where she went. She's like, this time it's my choice and I need to be able to protect mostly Frenchie, but my family.
Yeah. I was under the impression she would get her power back as well. I mean, she's an important cog in that team and that having powers.
Not even complaining, but it's starting to feel like no one could die in this show. Despite the fact that everyone in this show has died.
Yeah. So Annie understands Kimiko's point, and she does. She goes to the tower and grabs her a vial of Compound V and gets confronted by Homelander, which I found kind of funny. It's like this woman is basically causing all-out assault on vault towers, and she's just gonna walk in because she knows a side door, grab something that's worth like millions and millions of dollars worth of Compound V and just walk out. But she's able to escape because she says she's basically live streaming this, and Homelander, while crazy, is not crazy enough to kill her in front of 1.9 million followers or whatever it was.
Consummate professional Homelander too, able to just twist on a dime to say, "Hey, we can't record me while we're running lines." Do we think she was actually live streaming there, or do you think that was a bluff? Because I didn't see her screen.
I think it was a bluff, but you can't really
because the end of the episode, he's yelling at Ashley on the phone. I didn't know she was recording, so yeah, I think she was recording.
So at the end of that little segment, Annie's back with Kimiko, and she injects her in the back, which now we see is where you inject people with Compound V. And Kimiko gets her powers back. She heals up. She gets her strength back. But did you notice that there were many, many shots within that sequence after Kimiko gets the Compound V, that vial is still filled with Compound V. They have more. It didn't take all that she got. So I'm curious, is Butcher, is Huey, is Mother's Milk, is someone going to take the remaining Compound V that they have? It could potentially be a solve for what we learn while Annie is in the lab, that V24 is actually killing people that it's being tested on after 3 to 5
and these guys have definitely taken at least 5 doses.
And the last part here, Mother's Milk and Frenchie have a conversation. The reason why the smoke bomb that Mother's Milk threw at Soldier Boy didn't knock him out was because it was delivered as a gas, and Frenchie believes it needs to be a vapor. So you need those water droplets in there to be able to knock out Soldier Boy. So it sounds like they're going to try to get some of that from Russia. And then Mother's Milk sees, I guess, an Instagram post from his daughter's stepfather where they were at the rally that Homelander gave a speech about. And he doesn't take that well. He immediately goes over to their house and punches the father, Todd.
Well, he didn't punch him right away. He waited till he called out his fatherdomness.
So we have kind of the big storylines left to talk about. And let's start with Soldier Boy. We find out that Soldier Boy did not storm Normandy. He never fought against the Nazis. He was really a propaganda machine. And in fact, they say that he was the Kent State shooter.
Yeah.
Which is horrifying to think if that's actually the case, because what a cover-up. So their goal is to find Mindstorm, one of the two remaining Payback members that they haven't killed yet. It's Mindstorm and Black Noir. And they find him because they know he owns a ton of cabins in the wood, but he's bipolar, so he takes meds. They find someone who owns a cabin, who takes meds, and they go. And Mindstorm has an interesting power where essentially if he can lock eyes with you, he can put you kind of in a coma where you just live in a waking nightmare. And, eventually you'll die because you're not eating, you're not drinking, whatever it may be. So he immediately locks eyes with Butcher. Butcher goes down, and we'll go to talk about what Butcher sees when he's, unconscious in a little bit. But then Soldier Boy and Huey continue to try to find him. One of my favorite scenes was when they stumble upon the priest and the nun with the car broken down, and they're trying to go, somewhere, and Soldier Boy pretends to help them before shooting the priest in the head. Huey freaks out, and Soldier Boy's like, "Yeah, they're mind controlled by Mindstorm. The nun will attack you. Watch." And then the nun attacks him. He's freaking out, shoots her as well.
There are two options there. Either Soldier Boy is correct and they were mind controlled, or he's still high as a kite with his PTSD, put a bullet in this priest's head, which freaked out the nun who attacked the attackers. Doesn't matter.
At this point, doesn't matter, right? Either way, those poor people are no longer around. Eventually, they track Mindstorm to a barn, and Huey grabs him before Soldier Boy can shoot him, takes him to Butcher. They talk a little bit. Mindstorm releases Butcher from his waking nightmare, and then Soldier Boy comes and kills
Amazing
Mindstorm.
Shot with the knife, too, right in the eyes, like across the eyes. Take that power out.
And right before Soldier Boy kills Mindstorm, Mindstorm whispers something to him, and Soldier Boy looks a bit shook and walks away, refusing to tell Butcher what he heard.
So we get to hear a lot about Butcher's backstory in this episode, and we've heard about it before, but we've never actually seen it. And now, with Mindstorm's powers, we get to see Butcher reliving his worst nightmare, which was basically growing up with an abusive alcoholic father who would beat him and his brother Lenny. And that at one point, Butcher couldn't take it anymore, and he was either going to kill his father and end up in jail, or he had to leave. So he left, leaving Lenny there alone with his father, who also couldn't take it and ended up taking his own life, blaming Butcher for both Lenny's death, Madeline Albright's death, and Huey's eventual death.
So now with Mindstorm out of the picture, there's only one remaining member of Payback for Soldier Boy to take out, and that is Black Noir. Black Noir, who has probably the most outrageous storyline in this episode, and that's saying something considering it's the show, The Boys.
I'm so happy we got some Black Noir backstory and a look into his mind there, because this whole time I was debating if it was even an actor in the suit or just a stuntman, and it might have been in season 1, but so much fun to learn about him.
Yeah, so Black Noir is in a restaurant called Buster Beaver's, which obviously is a ripoff of Chuck E. Cheese's. I would assume there was a fun Twitter post that Black Noir's handle in the real world tweeted out with a commercial for Buster Beaver's. And the comments there are fantastic. Go read that thread. Basically, he recounts his history with Payback and with Soldier Boy through these cartoon characters that I'm assuming are Buster Beaver's characters, and it kind of recounts their story and how he got to where he is, which is essentially Soldier Boy was an absolute prick, and Black Noir had an opportunity to be in Beverly Hills Cop and play Axel's character, which was played by Eddie Murphy, and it's like a huge early 90s, late 80s movie. Yeah. And he was very upset about that. And it turns out that Soldier Boy was doing this to a lot of the different members of Payback. So they all kind of hated him and did turn him over to the Russians.
Why did you turn over Soldier Boy? Well, I lost a movie gig.
I mean, I've heard of stupider reasons,
true.
Right?
That's true. I just loved Black Noir. We finally get a look into his head. He's not this silent, monolithic character anymore, just running around following orders. He really does have some issues, some PTSD in there. He's that shot where he's watching the cartoons and it cuts away so that you know he's watching nothing. What's going on in his mind is absolutely nuts. And now think back over the last 2 seasons, every scene with Noir, and just imagine what's going through his head as normal shit's going on around him.
Yeah, that brings to mind 2 quick things. The first one, when they send Noir to take out the terrorist suit, and he plays with like a little stuffed animal in front of the guy's son.
Yeah.
And then the second one is, I believe Noir breaks down, kind of is crying in the hallway when he finds out about Compound V. The fact that he wasn't born that way, that they injected him or made him.
Yeah, his whole life could have been different, a lot better. But yeah.
So to round out the episode, let's talk about, the 8,000-pound American flag wearing gorilla in the room. We have Homelander, who at first goes to visit Maeve. So Maeve is still alive as well and is kept under, intense security measures to keep her that way. The conversation doesn't go well, but holy crap. When she asks why Homelander is keeping her alive, it's because he wants to harvest her eggs so he can have babies with her and kind of create more Homelanders and more Supes that way.
Yeah.
That is dark.
Yeah, that was a scene of, I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me. When she just said, this is still the best day of my life because I saw you scared. We do know know that the boys actually got through to him a little bit. He had a bruise on his cheek, so finally a little bit of damage.
Then we have Homelander at a rally for nominating Bob Singer as the next president of the United States. The speech that Homelander gives doesn't really have much to do with Singer and is more to continue the misinformation about Starlight. Yeah. And you really see Homelander going off the deep end. And he retreats after giving his speech into a barn where he milks a cow. We saw this in the trailer.
By the way,
and it kind of grosses me
great
out.
Soundtrack. Tommy James and the Shondells, Crimson and Clover, as he's milking a cow. Perfect use of that song. Perfect use.
Yeah, that scene is just horrifying. And Victoria Newman comes in, threatens Homelander a little bit by saying, like, you got to get your shit together or else this is all going to fall apart. And Homelander, believe it or not, doesn't take that well. Chokes her a bit. But she gives Homelander a piece of paper, which later on in the episode, in the final scenes, we see has an address on it. We did some quick Googling, as, we're known to do. And it leads us to a random spot in Minnesota. Yeah. We couldn't really determine what it is. Andrew, you have a guess?
I don't know. So it's 715 County Highway 2, Aldrich, Minnesota. My guess is either Noir's location, something underground. Those are my 2 guesses. Oh, or maybe it's where they hit Homelander's son, Ryan.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I don't have any educated guesses, so we'll definitely just let this ride into next episode. Yeah. So then coming to the end of the episode and the cliffhanger that the boys love to leave us on, Homelander gets a call from Soldier Boy and answers it, and then we now find out what we believe Mindstorm whispered to Soldier Boy before Soldier Boy killed him, that in 1981 there were some tests done on him by Vogelbaum, and they were able to create a child. And that child, we find out, is Homelander. So Homelander is Soldier Boy's son. And actually, in the comments of our trailer video, just want to give a special call out to Ethan Wood, who called this. Man. And I was like, wow, that'd be awesome if this happened to be a major plot twist. And spot on. He got it. So thank you for that comment. Leave comments. Always leave comments. We read them. We read every single one of them. And if you get something right, we'll call you out.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And that might be the change in teams that we're looking at next episode.
Right. Yeah. So here's in my mind how this fight could shape up. And now I know nothing, right? But I still see that Butcher, Huey are going to fight together, even though Butcher is hiding the information about V-24 potentially killing them. You have MM and Annie, Frenchie, Kimiko, who I believe will still fight on their side on the boys because they hate Soldier Boy, they hate Homelander. And then finally, I think we'll have Black Noir fight with the boys' side. Because on the other side, now that we know Soldier Boy and Homelander are related and don't really have any beef with each other outside of Butcher kind of using him as a negotiation tactic, I could see Soldier Boy, Homelander, the Deep, and maybe a few other folks fighting on that side. So that really leaves a few people in the middle who will have to decide. We have Maeve. If she's able to fight, she'll definitely fight on Butcher's side, but we don't know if she'll be free. A-Train. Do we think A-Train will be ready to go at that moment? If he does, I fully expect him to fight on the boys' side as well.
So on one side we have Homelander and Soldier Boy, and on the other side we have potentially everybody else. But Homelander
maybe the Deep. I understand why you wouldn't put the Deep there because he's probably not that big.
Oh, and the Deep, but he'll probably just be standing there going, I wish there was water around. I don't know what to do. Why are we fighting in the sky? Can we please fight in the ocean?
Well, thanks for watching, everyone. We are doing a giveaway. When we reach 2,500 subscribers, we'll be giving away 2 toys from Vox Machina. So check that out. And all you need to do is subscribe to our channel, like this video, and leave a comment on any of our videos. Well, that's it from us. I'm Sean. That's Andrew. Take it easy, YouTube.
See you next time.